to another episode of Show Business.
Good morning, Amit. Good morning, Kevin.
And this isn't the voice that you normally hear, is it, Jeff?
No, no, where is my old friend Amar? Is he out of the country? Is he in Saudi? Is he in India?
All of them are possible, Jeff, aren't they? They're all possible options. I think he's in the UK. I just think he's out of the office today.
Okay.
So we're here to talk about show business. Tell us what
Good.
show business is all about, Jeff.
Wow, gosh. Show business, on the top of my head, I can't even remember when it started, but it's probably about 15 years ago. I think everything from the connection with Amar and myself, really, it was all about a voice for local business, a voice for our community, but talking about business, trying to bring the cliche of connecting, supporting, and promoting businesses, not the established businesses, because we've got a lot of great you know Asian businesses within the city, whether it be the Malhotras or the Sagals and the Ladars, who have been leading the way, for 50, 60 years in the city. But it's more really for the newer, smaller businesses, giving them a voice, giving them an insight into the real business world and how it works, and a pathway really to avoid them making any big mistakes, or support them in showing them different contacts, connections, whether it be in media, PR, marketing, accountants, solicitors, and everything else. So I think that's the whole essence of it all. And in the earlier days, we did a lot of work with lots of different organizations, whether it be Business Link and many others, and where we were, there was funding available to help the small businesses. So yeah, we did in the early years. It was in some ways, I mean, because of the situation with government support and funding, it made it a bit easier, but that didn't stop us continuing doing what we did. And obviously, we had to kind of diversify a little and do award shows, work with a lot with Spice FM and other local organizations to keep the profile up with ABC, and show business is an effective arm of that. So yeah, that's the essence of it. That's where it started, and that's what we continue to try and do. And obviously, Amar is the person that leads the way, and we just try and stay with them if we can. I often cannot, so so he's the trailblazer that does everything, and opens all the doors and kicks the doors down in some instances.
Which is what we need. We need that trailblazer, don't we? That
Yeah,
that can be the voice of the north, of the northeast, at key junctions with key bodies. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what ABC is trying to do. ABC is literally the voice of the community, of the business organisations in the northeast, in the north, to be able to then put their voice forward and push that drive and get the northeast recognised. And I'm heavily involved in the awards, as you're aware. And that's one of the things for me is actually, yes, there's a lot of talent down south. Yes, London is the hub of a lot of industries and businesses and professionalisms, etc., etc. But actually, we've got talent up here, and for reasons either people love the northeast, or they can't travel, or they're in a, or they want to set it up here. We've got that talent. We've got those individuals that have been born and brought up, or moved and emigrated here, and the awards are there to celebrate that success as well,
absolutely.
and be the voice of talent in the northeast as well.
Yeah, and if you think about it, there isn't really a award ceremony that's there within our community to celebrate all the success stories. And sometimes you think about it, I mean, it's not like a particular organization can have a award to celebrate the success of their individual. So it has to be external. It has to be community based. It has to be well organized. It has to be fair, equitable, and all the rest of it. So And I think it's a really, really important um, kind of part of the community feeling, or the members within the community feeling a sense of achievement.
Yeah, 100%.
Because no matter how much you earn and no matter what you do, but just being recognized amongst the community and your peers that yes, there's a little something, because yes, we have seen your success and we have noticed it, and you have made a difference, and there's a little something for you to take from that. And I think that does really help drive and inspire others also.
And it's quite ironic, isn't it? Because actually, in our communities, as you're growing up, it doesn't matter how well you did at school. There was always some cousin, some friend, someone else that had done better. So you were never celebrated in a younger age because there was always that competition. It was always, oh, you need to do well. You need to be a doctor, be a lawyer, or an accountant, and go into one of those professionalisms. And I think obviously times have changed now, but it's all about celebrating that success. And I think you parents these days do celebrate the success of their children, irrelevant of what grades or what, if they're not top of the class but became second or third or halfway. There's still that celebration because actually we've probably realised what it was like for us growing up. I was always compared to my cousin, like literally same age. We've got the same first name, and he was academically amazing. The guy literally was a star student. But I was like, that's not me. But I also don't want to be that. I'm quite happy having my personality, my presence, because I'm different. I'm not the same, and I, I'm quite happy with not the fact that yeah, it would have been great to get A stars, but I don't regret the fact that I didn't. I've got the brain to do it. I just didn't have the willpower to study that much. I think.
Well, I mean, what will probably be interesting though is to. I thought about this recently as well. I think it's a matter of, you have at school, you had those SWATs who were really, really good on the top of the class and everything. But interestingly, though, everyone's probably career path is taken a particular journey. And it would be interesting to see the journey of other individuals and peers amongst us who were amazing at school academically, but how have they done in the real world where it's not always just about academic intelligence, is it? There's so many different factors that come to play in the real world.
Oh, 100%. It's not just about the salary. Yes, salary makes a big difference, but it's the impact. It depends what you measure it on, isn't it, Jaff? To be fair, if you look at what the scales are, one of my scaling points would be the impact you've got on the community, on people's lives, etc., etc. Only because I know that that's actually, I believe in that really strongly. I've probably got people that are doctors who I went to school with who probably would also believe in that. But then maybe you've got other people who are professionally doing really well, might not believe in that, but they're like, actually, how many houses have you got? How many flats have you got? What cars have you got? How much bank balance have you got? And that might be their criteria. So probably no one answer, but I think I prefer mine.
Good. And Kevin, how are things with yourself at the moment?
Good, brilliant. And just reflecting on our conversation we had towards the year end around purpose and, everything that we do, what brings meaning to our lives. So I think this ties in very well to that conversation because what I was in school, in terms of my grades and then university and everything to now that I am, with the job, none of it is linked. I studied something else. I'm doing something else now. So it's just that one bit that probably we ourselves try and understand that what are we actually working towards? What are we actually doing? And that's given direction by the people that we meet and the experiences that we have. So the point where you said that, at the end of the day, people just want to get recognized for the work they do. And money and success is brilliant in the places that they are, but ultimately it's your network that becomes your actual net worth. So Absolutely. Bringing everyone together, getting those things moving is definitely on my agenda for this year, and definitely working closely with Amit and yourself and Amar and all the brilliant initiatives that we planned for the year. So yeah, just things keeping me busy around this and very excited to move on that.
Were you a grade A student, Kevin?
Definitely not. I mean, I was okay. I got through. I loved sports. I was in the teams, football, boxing. I did all of it. Academics, not that great, but I just knew from the get-go that it's life skills that are going to get me the place I have to. So that's one thing. Although my parents disagreed when I was in school, they were more focused on my grades. But yeah, I think I've got through quite decently. I'm definitely in a place where I need to grow, and so is everyone else. So yeah, that's about it.
Jeff, were you a grade A student?
No, no. Do you know what? I remember one of my teachers saying that, oh, well, do you know what? We need to talk about Jalf. Because he's not number one, he's never number two. He's around about the three or fourth, and they don't get any type of pat on the back. So because he's kind of tries his best, but he can't get to the top, let's kind of mention him today. So I wasn't the worst, but I wasn't the best. So I was closer to the higher end than the lower end, but there was individuals certainly that were a lot brighter than us. To be honest, me growing up, I was a naughty kid, and I guess I was more streetwise than intelligent, or I was more streetwise than an academic. So I think going to the school that we did, Rutherford School, come on, I mean it's where Westgate Community College is, right? And
Yeah.
that was not the roughest of the roughest, but it was a pretty rough school. You needed to know how to look after yourself, and there was a lot of, it made you big and strong, and I think it played a part in your developing the characteristics that then become a part of who you are, and being able to survive, being able to be on guard all the time, being able to get out of difficult situations, mentally be quite quick, fast, and all of those things. And you kind of develop those things. So, but our school wasn't the best school, but it did make you harder because it wasn't the best. There was discipline wasn't there because the type of kids that were there. There were a lot of naughty kids, naughty big families, that were, whether it be the Harrisons or it be the Conroys. They had a big say in how that school functioned and how it was for everybody else. So yeah. But I was a hard worker though. I had the endeavor, and it took me longer to learn in comparison to others. But that's just what it was.
Do you think, because you're pretty successful, great businesses, do you think having a different education, you talked about going to Rutherford, rough school, etc. Had you went to RGS, Ponthiel and Daymount, whatever, do you think you would have been as successful, or do you think,
for me,
or do you think it's actually based on the individual, irrelevant of their education?
I don't think I would be able to do what I did if I went to RGS and I was a SWAT, because that SWAT life and that SWAT mentality and that SWAT intelligence would lead you in a different direction, because you're probably good at mathematics. You probably go down the corporate route because you're very, very, I think you're a bit more systematic, aren't you? When you're right at the top, you're very much understand curriculums, and you're following everything to the bone, and your mentality is ticking all the boxes. Whereas we're as I said, we were a bit more streetwise and not that super bright. but we had more endeavor. And I think in business, you need endeavor to survive and succeed. Sometimes it's not all about the intelligence, because sometimes it's about that real, being able to roll up your sleeves. Because I don't think, can you see a SWAT rolling up their sleeves and mopping the floors and cleaning the toilets when you need to do that? I don't know. I just can't see that happening.
No, but this is my next topic for today, was to talk about whether or not the education system is set for businessmen, for people to go into industry and business, or is it creating professionals, i.e. those that go into a day job in the office 9 to 5?
Personally, when we look at the 18-year-old kids that apply for jobs, bring their CVs in, apart from the rare one or two, I think they don't have the mental resilience that we had. They are emotionally very, very vulnerable. They couldn't do, once they do I don't think they can fully do a full 6 hours work without there being a distraction, because I don't know what the statistics are, but if you say to an 18-year-old, you can't check your social media status for 6 hours, I think that I find that really, really difficult, because they just couldn't, they need that access to their phone to see what's happening, how many likes, or what's happening here, what's happening here, what's happening there. And I think that's the level of, so the concentration levels we find are really, really poor. The resilience is really poor. The attendance is not the best. So whilst you compare that to we have someone is probably about 65 years old now, one of our uncles. He's never been off in 20 years on sick. So when someone tells me that they're sick and they're unwell, I always think to myself, are they telling me the truth? Or are they just making it up? Because how come the uncle is never unwell? And even if he does have a cold, he just thinks that, oh, it's just a cold, I'm going to go on to work.
There's a difference, though, isn't there? And it's trying to get that balance right. I'm not saying that an 18, 19-year-old who sneezes and calls in sick's correct, but also someone who's not took a sick day in 20 years when they have been ill, or when they've been under the weather, probably isn't the right thing either in this day and age. It was back then. There was very much company loyalty. You went and worked for an organisation, and you stayed there from start till finish, really. And I'm a bit like that. I've in my career, I think I've worked in 3 places, and each place has been like 10 years. Where I've stayed for as long as I can before either the business has been sold or there's been a relocation, and it just hasn't then worked. But I think nowadays, in order to get ahead, and again, it's the same with employers as well, who aren't promoting as much either, and they're taking talent from outside. You probably need a job hunt every 2 or 3 years anyway, and shift. And I do see that. I see that actually there's individuals who I've known for 20 years who've job jumped, and they've job jumped every 3 to 4 years on average, and actually have become quite senior now only because that's what they've done. And I'm like, well, actually, that's worked for them. It's not something that I think is great when I'm reviewing CVs, to see that someone's stayed somewhere for 6 months, 2 weeks, a year, because I'm like, well, they're going to get bored of my place and leave as well.
Yeah, no, it that totally makes sense. I think individuals, they have to have that progressive mentality, whether you progress within the workplace where you are, or whether it means that you make decisions and you go to other opportunities arise and you take them on, and that's absolutely fine. And I think that's how it should be. I think it's good that there's movement of staff within organizations, because it opens up doors for other up and coming members and stuff, and also keeps things fresh. But I think those that do stay for a long time, we look at loyalty in this context. Loyalty is all about consistent performance. It's not just I'm here the longest and I'm gonna slack. That's not loyalty. Loyalty is that you're able to adhere to a set of standards that have been set consistently and of, you know, keeping that same levels. Then you are then setting a tone and setting an example for all the others. So I think if you do have that amongst your core team, then they're able to instill that within the rest of the team because they're the ones that set the example. And I think that makes a massive, massive difference.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. How moving on slightly from education and to what business, how's Restaurant Week going for you?
Yeah, Restaurant Week, you know, it's an absolute phenomena, you know, because I'm not sure if there's any other cities in the country that do it. And even if they did do it, they won't be able to do it as well as this because Restaurant Week has formed, it's become part of the history of the city. Two times a year, you have Restaurant Week. The first one is in the first couple of weeks of January, and the other one is in August. They've picked the best weeks for the businesses to have that event because remember traditionally, Amit, January, right? You would be dead busy in December, hospitality, and then be a massive slump in January because everyone's spent out, they got no money. And to change that social scene by having Restaurant Week and it being so successful that the numbers it brings into the city is absolutely incredible. I mean, it's for the whole week. We've been very busy in all the restaurants. And it's just great to see people come out. And that lull that you have in January, it definitely reduces that for the first kind of couple of weeks because the third week you have Restaurant Week. And after that, it just picks up momentum for the rest of the days in January. And then as soon as you move into February, you're kind of back to normal again.
People want to be out and about again anyway.
Yeah.
I remember because my dad used to have a restaurant, but I clearly remember that in January, because it was quiet, we used to have a 3-course offer for $9.95 or 5 courses for $14.95, and it was one of those. It was like Restaurant Week, but without the official Restaurant Week. So it was one of the special offers, Monday to Friday, because obviously weekends weren't as bad still, and people were still coming out Saturdays, Sundays, or Friday, Saturdays. So we literally had the offer $9.95 for a three-course meal or whatever, just to pull people in the quiet periods. But the fact that this is now regulated, it's formalized, you haven't just got any one restaurant doing it. You've got restaurants outside of that area that are also doing Restaurant Week, albeit not being part of the official restaurant process. But it's great. I've been out twice already this week. I'm out tonight, and I'm at your place on Sunday.
Brilliant.
I was like, might as well take advantage of the fact that, like,
I think I mean part of the thing is of Restaurant Week because I remember I was one of the original people that was sat on the board of organizations that were involved in the first Restaurant Week, which was 2011. There was only, I think, 10 or 12 restaurants, and they handpicked the ones that they wanted to set a particular tone. And it was the Cafe 21s, the Blackfriars, all the kind of high-end restaurants, I guess, if you want to call them that. So a couple of things. Number one, those that are involved in it, they have to have a genuinely amazing offer. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So you have to have, you know, an offer that would cost you £35 and £40, whatever it may be, and you're doing that for 25. You have to do it as a giveaway because you get the numbers in and it can still work. The sums can still work. Number two, the fact that, as you said, Amit, it's done by a proper organization, anyone, as opposed to the impact that you can have as one restaurant doing it, as opposed to anyone and the resources that they have. And it's the collective promotion of 112 restaurants. And the reach that you get from that alone is massive because each restaurant is promoting it along with anyone and their whole marketing team. It's always in the papers. It's always in the news. So the reach And the impact that that has is absolutely huge. I don't think one restaurant could ever do it themselves and have that same reach. So, and then the collective impact. So you then change the whole city and the perception and the dynamic of the city as a group of businesses, and that's really good because it's now set in tone. It's part of the history of the city, and no other city has anything like this. And I think great pat on the back to anyone that come up with this idea all those years ago, and all the restaurants involved doing great offers and understanding what they need to do to make it a collective success.
Yeah, no, it's a great initiative, and I get lots of WhatsApps and groups of friends messaging and saying, "Should we do this on Wednesday night?" And she'll go here because this is the offer, and it's great. And you get to try out, you get to go to some fancy restaurants at a slightly cheaper price that you think, actually, I would only ever go there for a special occasion, but actually, it's as cheap as the Nando's. So actually, I can go there and get a much better meal for what I would actually pay at a Nando's.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good.
All good, all good. Right, okay, so 10:30, let's go into some business news and see what's going up around the Northeast. So there's a few things that's going on. Kevin, do you want to do the first one?
Yeah, of course. Prima Cheese, a well-known brand all across the Northeast, scaling up. And an interesting case study here for SMEs to then also understand how, moving from a niche market to then going global, how that's making a big difference. So they've got their exports up by 72%, doing really well, despite their profit growing 40% year on year. They're doing really well, tapping into new markets all across. Nissan as well. Kim McGuinness has been talking about this. Brilliant opportunity to open up new jobs all across the Northeast, and even trying and understanding how we could bridge the gap around this. So keen to know what your thoughts are on this, Amit and Jalf, with the improved job opportunities. I know we've discussed the job opportunities coming through the international student route, also the local resources and the local talent that's been improving year on year. Just keen to know what your observation on that is, and we can touch upon the rest.
So this is where literally the investment in a new factory, 183 jobs, it's great, isn't it? Nissan's all about the Northeast. Nissan is synonymous with up here, and I just think the fact that they've kept that factory here rather than going abroad just shows like actually a little bit of dedication, support from the government as well in bringing jobs to the Northeast where Nissan's synonymous with. Yeah, I think it's great, and I think we need more like that. I think we need to get more businesses up in the Northeast because we've got a lot of great people up here. We've got a lot of dedicated people. We talked with Jalf a second ago about that dedication and the resilience and whatnot. And actually, you'll probably find that the employees that are up north are actually a lot more resilient than employees elsewhere in the country as well.
I think that's a really valid point. My only question on this is, if they're spending almost 50 million quid in investment, is there only 183 jobs created from that 50 million quid investment? To me, I would have thought it would have been at least 500 jobs with that kind of investment. But obviously, the stats are the stats. Does that make sense? If you're spending 50 million quid, I mean, if you spend $1 million, I'm just looking from a restaurant perspective. If you spend $1 million quid in a restaurant, you're creating 50 jobs easily, because you need 50 people to be able to occupy that kind of investment and that space. So you're investing kind of 50 times that.
There's probably automation involved, isn't there?
Yeah, probably.
Like you say, if you spend 50 million, there's probably an element of automation, and therefore it's probably supervisors and office staff and a lot of that kind of stuff. Because but that 50 million and that 183 jobs actually snowballs, doesn't it? Because it's the investment in the Northeast, it's jobs.
Yeah.
Them 183 people, actually, there'll be other people that come to visit Nissan for meetings and stuff. So they're coming up and spending money, staying in hotels, going to restaurants. The staff that are then employed will then actually go out for dinner. So that 50 million and that 183 people snowballs bigger, doesn't it? It's that impact of, it was that conversation or that analogy of paying in cash rather than paying by card, because actually every time you pay by card and the charges, the banks charge and the card machines charge, that £50 diminishes, and it actually ultimately ends up at nothing because you've just ended up paying it all in charges. But that £50 cash, the pound notes you pay, always remain £50 everywhere you transfer them to. What do you think of that, Jeff? That whole money bank electronic versus cash analogy?
Oh man, I mean, I have my views on it, and to be honest, I'm very much against it all, because I think the way that things are going, it's not. I mean, look, there are those groups that are, so you can call them the so-called conspiracy theorists, but I wouldn't say that. I think they're just kind of in the know and maybe is a little bit ahead. If you watched that movie, Enemy of the State, Amit, have you watched it with Will Smith?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
We really don't want that type of scenario where I don't think that for me, when I look at banks, I think the bank should be a storage facility for our funds. They should be owned by the people, managed by the people. Because if the banks dictate to us what we can do with our hard-earned money, oh, well, you can't take this out, you can't do this, and you can't, oh, well, who are you paying that money to? Is it your cousin? Is it your brother? Is it an invoice? Is it an electric bill? I mean, for that kind of level of detail that they are beginning to ask for, if you're trying to pay monies to A, B, C, and D, and if you go to the bank and you want to take out 500 quid, and they don't let you these days, because I think the limit in NatWest is something like 300, and that's your cash, your money. Why should they have that hold on us? I think I'm really, really worried about the future of electronic money. What if, as it's happened in occasions where there's a fault in the electronic system, or there's been some kind of a cyber attack? What are we going to do in that instance? The society is just going to come to a standstill.
Yeah, people have then tried to.
I go to the football, right? And previously, we used to have a season. It just used to be a credit card style season card, right? Now they've got rid of that, and it's all in the wallet. And your phones, and if your phone ever your battery goes flat, or your phone malfunctions, and everything is in the phone, your ticket and A, B, C, and D, that means that there's no way that you can go and say to them, well, actually, you know what, I did buy my ticket, but my phone's gone off. Look, it's damaged. They're just going to say, well, I'm sorry. And that's how things are going. And I just feel that it just opens it up for there to be some other type of issues. I understand. Can you all hear us?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I understand the benefits of technology for sure, 100%. But I just feel that it is changing a lot. It's changing a lot where the banks are effectively going to be the ones that run society, and I think that's quite worrying.
It is, if you look at the history of banks and the crash and everything like that, where they actually weren't able to make sound decisions for society and for the communities. But is it inevitable that it's going to go that way?
Well, it's inevitable because they're obviously very much pushing it, and the people in society, do they have any type of say? And they should have a say. I think it's inevitable for sure. There's going to be no cash. Cash is going to be gone. It's going to all be electronic money. And as they've done I remember in Canada, there was some kind of a protest, and Justin Trudeau decided to seize all the accounts or block all the accounts of the lorry drivers that were blocking the streets. I mean, is that what it's ultimately going to end up in? If you disagree with whether it be a government policy or a bank's policy, are they gonna be in a position where they can block your bank account? If they say that, do you agree with sexualization of children, for example, and you say, well, I'm sorry, but I'm against that. So, well, your bank account's blocked.
Not in our lifetime. I don't think any of that would happen. Would it?
Do you think? I wouldn't be too sure about that, because if you go to the Canadian lorry drivers, they're just protesting about the lockdowns, and they just don't want the lockdown to happen. They want to be able to get on with the business and look after the families and continue to earn the grain. And they turn around and said, well, no, I'm sorry, but we're blocking your bank accounts.
Yeah, there's got to be some human rights element that the governments need to.
There needs to be an element of protection, doesn't there?
Yeah.
That your bank account is your bank account. It's your money. You've earned it. That's your money. And they can't just take your money away from you and have some rules and policies where you can't go and get your money, or they can't spend your money. So
right.
So that protection, for sure, it needs to be there. And I don't know if it is there.
It's interesting, Jeff, you brought this up, because that's where the whole decentralized finance and blockchain and cryptocurrency comes into play. People have recognized that, someday the government's just going to seize all my accounts. Someday someone's just going to get into my account and take all my money away. How do I have full control of it?
I understand that, Kevin. Maybe you can enlighten me then, because I still can't get my head around the blockchains and all these different type of currencies that are out there, because I still see it as, okay, so you've got this, what do you call those money blockchains? Can you give us an example of a name?
Cryptocurrency.
Bitcoin. You got cryptocurrency, right? So if I've got like 100 cryptocurrencies, is that the correct terminology for them?
Bitcoin, yeah, no, one Bitcoin.
I've got like 100,000 of them. But where is it? It's in some kind of electronic space, right? Effectively. What if there's some kind of an electric issue, and it's just not, you go there one day and it's just not there, because it's not physical, is it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Or there's something that's happened to your, like I'm always sharing the story last week. Somebody had this password saved on his computer, and he had two computers that were the same, and one of them was dormant, and he decided to clear his desk, and he actually threw away the wrong computer, and that computer is gone to the where you throw in a rubbish dump, and he's now in a rubbish dump trying to find his computer, because it's got hundreds and thousands of pounds in it, or millions of pounds in it, and I think that's the risk of it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even so they tried to mitigate this, and they started having these pen drive like devices that would store the money. They'd call it an e-wallet or a physical e-wallet. But then again, it comes down to the same point. It's on an electrical device. It could, possibly get erased, or you could not use it. Nothing beats physical access to money. Of course, there is benefits of having everything online, the convenience of it, but you never know that with the rate of, cybersecurity attacks, and of course, there's a flip side to it. There's always a balance where people are getting better at cybersecurity, but people are getting better at hacking as well. So it's just then trying to understand, are we actually going to go all paperless? Are we actually going to have all e-money? So I'm genuinely scared because I'm not comfortable having all of my money online. You never know what might happen tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we should all be very worried about that. And I know there's been an instance with a very well-known local businessman. He's a business associate of ours. He's an Asian guy. I've been doing business with him for over 20 years. Good, honest person. And one day, um, he had £500,000 from his business account that just disappeared. Now, for him to get that money back from his bank, it took him months and months and months. You're talking about 7, 8 months. Now, imagine your cash flow of you're £500,000 short, and you're not going to get that money back tomorrow. It's your money. There's been something, someone's hacked into the bank systems, because it's not our system, is it?
Yeah.
It's our money, but the system is not ours, it's the bank's. So our money should be fully protected and insured. But actually, it's not. Because our money in your personal account is only insured up to 85,000. The bank will have an obligation to give you that back. Beyond that, they don't have any obligations. But it's a bank system, but our money, it should have 100% security at all times. And that's not there. And that's also, when you think about that, how is that even possible? That there isn't 100% guarantee of our funds in the bank. Because it's not the bank's money, it's our money. And even that, logically, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
But it's an accepted norm, though, isn't it?
It's accepted.
You're right.
Why has society accepted that, Amit, do you think?
Probably because we don't really. Is it the fact that we just don't think we have a say as individuals? It's the big people against the little people, isn't it? To a degree.
Well, I just think that logically, if you think in a logical way, it's actually that's the most basic security that you should have, and the government and the big whoever's the banks are still private institutions, aren't they? Yeah. That's the whole thing. It's other people that have got them. So why do they not want to secure our money that we've put into their organization, into their banks? Because they just take it and they invest it and move it here and there, and they don't actually have it in the banks. And that's the real reason why they don't kind of insure it. So, but it's just this.
Do you think there's a bank out there? Do you think there's a bank out there? And I'm going to research this after the show, and we'll put an update out. But is there a bank out there that doesn't give you interest, obviously charges you because it needs to have a physical building, staff, or whatever, but then doesn't invest your money and therefore gives you 100% guarantee because actually it's not selling it?
I don't think there's any, because the government regulation tells you that they have to have up £85,000. There's an £85,000 security, and that's the limit. So I don't think there is, because the regulation doesn't demand it.
Interesting. Right. Anyway, last 10 minutes of the show, which has gone really quickly. We've got a curry club coming up.
Yes, is that next week or the week after?
It is.
Yeah.
Go on, Kevin.
30th. Be hosting ourselves at Raymond James Monument. Of course, the usual drill, brilliant of people coming together. Excellent presentations by both Amit and Amar. It's all about us embracing inclusion by default, and also trying and understanding how we could work towards just in simple terms, uniting everyone and working as a collective organization and a collective unit as a whole. So Amit's been working on some interesting programs that we've been going to be launching for Asian women. So Amit, do you want to touch upon that?
Yeah, it's called Become Awesome. So those of you that know ABC know that we launched our Awesome Women campaign a number of years ago, and this is all about celebrating the ladies who are working hard in business as well as doing everything else that they do. Because again, in Asian households, you can't just go and do a day job. That you've actually got kids, households, all that kind of stuff. And again, we live in communities where there's weddings, functions, and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff going on anyway within our household. So we've got the awesome women who we celebrate each year. We add more people to that. One of our amazing awesome women is Councillor Iram Ali, who again is a great representative of the women in the West End as a councillor, but also an immigration sister. And as part of the Awesome Women in ABC campaign, we're doing Become Awesome. And this is about all of those ladies who have either got a small business or want to start a business but don't really know how to go about it or how to expand. And the idea is we've got an accelerator program that gets them in front of us, in front of key representatives of expertise, and we sort of help and support them go through that process on how to actually launch a business or expand, etc., etc. It's a 6 to 8 week program starting next Wednesday. You just need to email us to say that you want to attend. It's free of charge, so there's no cost, and it starts after the school run. So anyone who needs to do a school run, it starts after the school run at the Beacon on the West Road. So car park there, tea and coffee refreshments will be available. And it's just a great way to, if you're thinking of starting a business or if you're wanting to grow your business, but maybe just feel a bit stuck or actually want some fresh eyes and a bit of advice and a bit of know-how, then that's something that you should come along to.
Excellent. Sounds amazing. Another great initiative.
Yeah, it is. It's been sponsored. We've got Blue and Dolphin that's supporting it, and we've got the Business Bank that's supporting it as well. So some great organisations behind it, as well as ABC, Yola, SME, just pushing that. And I think it's a great initiative. New Year, people sit there over Christmas, sitting there thinking, "Oh, I could do that. I could do that." And actually, this gives them that opportunity. And Newcastle's great for people that are, and you said this earlier, Jeff, hardworking entrepreneurs, people who actually have got the business ideas and they've got the know-how, but maybe struggle a little bit with just getting it into action. So this new year, everyone's New Year's resolutions, everyone's sitting there going, right, I want to do something this year, and this is their opportunity. We've only got 3 sessions in person, so it's not like a long commitment and a big commitment. It's 3 in-session persons, and we've got drop-in, walk-in sessions and stuff where if they need advice, support, whatever, they can come to any future sessions. And then we'll be there with them as ABC and SME throughout the journey for whatever support and help that they need.
Excellent.
So the email address to register is inclusion@abconnections.org. Or you can have a look at our Facebook page or Spice FM's Facebook page, and all the details are on there as well.
Brilliant.
Same for the tickets are available on Facebook and LinkedIn, AB Connections. You could reach out to us at info@abconnections.org. 30th of Jan at Raymond James. We look forward to meeting you all. And it's a brilliant opportunity to get to know people, and not just know people, but also have a place and a platform to recognize the potential all across the region, get those ideas moving and business plans if there are any that you need to collaborate on. same goes for the Awesome Women Initiative, bringing that level of recognition and bringing that level of awareness amongst Asian women and Asian women who are aspiring to be entrepreneurs. So a brilliant initiative to get involved in. Info is all there on Facebook and LinkedIn, so please feel free to reach out to us.
And then the alap that I always jump is about the awards. So nominations for this year's awards is open. So guys, it's all about promoting those in our communities, those that are doing an amazing job that maybe don't get the recognition that they should get. So literally go onto our website, and at the bottom of the page, there's a nominate button. Click on that and you can nominate yourself, nominate any business, nominate any individual. We've given you some examples of the categories and the nomination types there. And if you go and have a look at some of the past winners on the website, you'll be able to see what type of people that we're looking for that are winning. But hey, honestly, put your nomination in and we'll coach you and guide you in terms of what we're looking for, what your profile needs to be, and whether or not you would qualify for a nomination. But we've got the awards October. Looking forward to that this year again, because they're just every year getting better and better, and they're just so much fun as well. It's a great place to, weirdly enough, considering it's like an awards, which is a business awards networking event, it just feels like one big family function. Do you know what I mean? Where everyone's there and you're celebrating everyone and everyone's happy for everyone. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, yes, it is, and I think it's been going on for a good few years now. And as you said, I mean, it's always evolving, improving, and getting better. And yeah, I think this is going to be the best one yet.
It is. Right, we have got 2 minutes left of the show, so just I think it'll be quite good, Kevin, to do a quick reminder of the events that we've got coming up.
Yeah, the Curry Club immediately, 30th of Jan. We've got the Awesome Women Initiative kicking off on the 22nd next week. The details are shared. You could either reach out to us at info@abconnections.org or through Facebook or through LinkedIn, and we would get back to you with more details on that. The nominations for the Awards Night 2025 are open as well. More details can be shared via both LinkedIn and Facebook. So please feel free to reach out to us. If you've got any other queries around membership or getting involved in any of the initiatives or leading any of the initiatives as well as sponsoring, we're more than happy to have those conversations around them. Either reach out to myself or Amit through ABC, and we can definitely support you on that.
Excellent.
Yeah, brilliant. Right, guys, 45 seconds. I just want to literally close just saying that, look, thanks guys for supporting us on Show Business and ABC over the years. If you've got any feedback, any comments, and if you're not listening to this on a Friday and you listen to the podcast or repeat, honestly, just email us with any comments and thoughts that you've got. We're happy to hear them. Jalf, 20 seconds.
Great to have you guys on, and great start to the new year, and wish both of yourselves and all of our listeners a fantastic 2025.
Brilliant, guys. Thank you so much. That was another episode of Show Business brought to you by ABC, and we'll see you next week.
Spice FM 90.